Venus is hiding at least 3 massive asteroids with unstable orbits that could hit Earth with just 2 to 4 weeks warning. In Brazil, giant sinkholes are expanding so fast they're swallowing parts of a city, forcing a state of emergency as at least 1,200 people risk losing their homes. And Greenland's ice sheet is melting 17 times faster after a record-breaking May heat wave. These are terrifying real signs the world is ending in 2025. Scientists have discovered that Venus is hiding at least 3 massive asteroids that could hit Earth with almost no warning. These aren't the type of near-Earth asteroids scientists usually track. They're called co-orbital asteroids because they share an orbit with Venus, and there are at least 20 of them. The problem is that 3 in particular, 2020 SB, 524522, and 2020 CL1, have unstable orbits that bring them dangerously close to Earth. According to the study, the fact that they're co-orbital protects the asteroids from close approaches to Venus, but that doesn't mean Earth is protected. If the asteroids' orbits shift even slightly, they could be sent straight toward us. The worst part is that they're almost impossible to spot because the sun's glare hides them from telescopes. Scientists say we'd only have about 2 to 4 weeks of warning if one of these asteroids were heading our way. The asteroids range from 330 to 1,300 feet wide, which is large enough to destroy an entire city, create massive fires, tsunamis, and leave a crater over 2 miles across. One scientist explained that a collision would release energy 1,000,000 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb. Greenland's ice sheet is melting 17 times faster than usual after a record-setting heat wave this past May. During the heat wave, parts of Greenland and Iceland hit temperatures way above normal. Iceland recorded the country's hottest May temperature ever, and Greenland also hit record highs. According to World Weather Attribution, this kind of heat wave is extremely rare, and only had about a 1% chance of happening in any given year. Without climate change, though, this event would have been, quote, basically impossible, said Frederick Otto, a climate scientist at Imperial College London. Melting ice sheet is a big deal, because when Greenland's ice melts, it pours huge amounts of fresh water into the ocean, which could mess with ocean currents. Currents that help control global weather. If they slow down, it could seriously disrupt things. Walid Abdaladi, an environmental science expert, said, "The nature of weather in the northern hemisphere is directly tied to what's happening in the Arctic, because that ice floor, basically at the bottom of the atmosphere, helps determine the weather patterns that we get." So back in January, the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists nudged the Doomsday Clock to a record-setting 89 seconds to midnight. The team behind the Doomsday Clock are made up of nuclear experts, climate researchers, and tech experts. Daniel Holtz, who leads the board, said, "Because the world is already perilously close to the precipice, a move of even a single second should be taken as an indication of extreme danger." He warned that every second of delay increases the probability of global disaster. There were a few big threats they mentioned: tensions in the Middle East, new missile activity from North Korea, militaries starting to integrate AI in general. On top of that, worries about the climate and potential pandemic-level biological threats were also brought up. On March 28th, a 7.7 to 7.9 magnitude earthquake slammed into central Myanmar, right around Mandalay, flattening monasteries, homes, bridges, even brought down a high-rise under construction in Bangkok, killing 92 people. Myanmar's government says 3,700 people died, but estimates go as high as 5,400 fatalities, with 11,400 injuries. So around 17 million people were affected, and getting help to them was a nightmare because roads, hospitals, and communication lines were destroyed. Melinda Good from the World Bank said the quake made an already tough situation even worse for the people of Myanmar, who were already struggling. India jumped in with Operation Brahma, sending planes full of medics and supplies to help, but recovery is going to take a long time. Canada's fire season is already crazy. In 2025, over 1,800 wildfires have burned almost 3.5 million hectares of land. That's huge. Some fires even came back from last year like they were smoldering under the snow, and they flared up again. Provinces like Manitoba and Saskatchewan have declared states of emergency. More than 32,000 people have had to evacuate. In Manitoba alone, around 17,000 people had to get out because the smoke and fires got so bad. The smoke isn't just staying in Canada either. It's traveled thousands of miles, causing air quality warnings across the US from the Midwest all the way to the East Coast. There was even a haze that made it all the way to Europe. Experts say climate change is making fire seasons worse, hotter, drier, and longer. So far, 2025 is already the 18th worst year for wildfires in the last 43 years, and the summer's just getting started. A weird prophecy from Baba Vanga is making the rounds again. So she predicted that we'd have some interaction with aliens this year, more specifically that a UFO would show up at a big sports event. Nobody knows which one exactly, but people are guessing maybe Wimbledon or the World Cup. But here's the good news. Her prophecy says this, quote, new light in the sky will, quote, bring answers, not fear. Now, this may sound pretty far-fetched, and maybe it is, but this does come while UFO or UAP reports have been popping up a lot more. And here's a weird little news story. South American scientists are actually claiming to have found alien DNA. In Peru, some researchers say they analyzed mummified bodies and found DNA that doesn't match any known species, so that's pretty wild. Earlier this year, something really disturbing happened off Tasmania's coast. Over 150 false killer whales suddenly beached themselves on a single stretch of shore. That's a huge number. What caused so many of them to strand at once isn't clear yet. Some think it could be changes in ocean currents, noise pollution, or some sort of disease. Whatever it is though, it's unusual enough that it's got a lot of people freaked out. And other creatures like anglerfish and oarfish have started showing up in places where they normally wouldn't. And more on oarfish. In early June, a woman walking her dog on Ocean Beach in Tasmania found one washed ashore. I just knew it was something unusual and weird, said Sybil Robinson, who found it. At first, she saw a silver streak in the sand, but as she got closer, she realized it was a very long, strange-looking sea creature. I could see it was a long fish, but I had no idea what kind of fish, she said. The oarfish, which was about 9 feet long, was later identified by marine experts on the Citizen Scientists of Tasmania Facebook page. Oarfish live really deep under the water, so it is extremely rare to see one near the surface. Neville Barrett, a fish biologist at the University of Tasmania, said, "It's a very rare occasion when one washes ashore. There's not many reportings at all." He went on to explain that when oarfish do wash up, it's usually because they're sick or dying. But why am I talking about a fish washing up on shore in a video about the world ending? Well, some people think oarfish sightings are a bad omen. In Japanese folklore, they're believed to show up before major disasters. For example, during the 2011 Fukushima earthquake and tsunami, dozens of oarfish washed ashore in the years leading up to it. In 2025, there was a huge oil spill in the Black Sea, leaving behind thick, toxic sludge. People on the ground started calling the area a kill zone, as almost everything in the spill's path was wiped out. Fish, seabirds, dolphins. The oil cut off oxygen in the water, creating dead zones where nothing can survive. Beaches were covered in the sludge, and the smell was just disgusting. The spill was traced back to damaged oil rigs and old pipelines that either weren't being looked after or got smashed by recent storms. Cleanup crews have been struggling with the mess because the oil is so thick it can't even reach some of the worst spots. Fishermen got hit the hardest. A lot of them basically lost everything overnight because there's nothing left to catch. People living nearby are worried that this won't be something that gets cleaned up anytime soon. Experts are saying the Black Sea could take years, maybe even decades to recover from this. It's now one of the worst disasters the Black Sea has ever seen. And right now, no one really knows how much of it can actually be fixed. In Buratucupu, a town in the northeastern Brazilian Amazon, giant sinkholes have started opening up all over the place, and now parts of the city are literally falling into the ground. The situation has gotten so bad that the local government had to declare a state of emergency. At least 1,200 people out of the 55,000 living there are now at serious risk of losing their homes. Some buildings have already been destroyed. They've actually been dealing with this for decades, but things have gotten gotten much worse recently. Area's sandy soil combined with years of poor urban planning, deforestation, heavy rain, it's just making the ground collapse. A local geographer, Marcelino Farias, said the rainy season is making everything worse right now. With all that said though, I've been your host James, and I will catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.